Yep.
And so the first reading is Genesis 18, 1 through 10.
I'll read. A reading from the book of Genesis. The Lord appeared to Abraham by the Tabernacle of Mamre, and he sat at the entrance of his tent, while the day was growing hot. Looking up, Abraham saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them, and bowing to the ground, he said, "Sir, if I may ask you this favor, please do not go on past your servant. Let some water be brought, that you may bathe your feet, and then rest yourselves under the tree. Now that you have come this close to your servant, let me bring you a little food, that you may refresh yourselves, and afterward you may go on your way." The men replied, "Very well, do as you have said." Abraham hastened into the tent and told Sarah, "Quick, 3 measures of fine flour, knead it and make rolls." He ran to the herd, picked out a tender, choice steer, and gave it to the servant, who quickly prepared it. Then Abraham got some curds and milk, as well as the steer that had been prepared, and set these before the 3 men. And he waited on them under the tree while they ate. They asked Abraham, "Where is your wife Sarah?" He replied, "There in the tent." One of them said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
So how quick
Yeah, really.
can they fix?
Oh, I know. That was one of the points I was going to make. So they prepared a steer.
Yeah.
That's like at least a morning job. I mean, it's not a small job, right? Yeah, I mean, so the first part about it is the Lord appeared to Abraham, and this use of the Lord, it's used in the YHVH. And so the Jews don't use vowels. I mean, it's like in terms of respect for God. So this is God appearing.
Get your breath. You want some water?
No, it's all right. So I'm not allowed to use the word of God, so that just struck me right then and there. This is God appearing personally to Abraham. And so St. Augustine, the early church fathers, St. Origen, they saw these 3 men as a prefiguring of the Trinity. And it's kind of weird when you read it. It has the Lord appeared to Abraham, but then he saw 3 men standing by. And, sir, if I may ask you this favor, he's not addressing it as sirs, he's addressing it as one, sir. And so this has been looked at by the church fathers as like a prefigurement of the Trinity appearing to Abraham. And we know it's divine later when they say, "Where is your wife Sarah?" How would they know his wife's name?
Right.
I mean, there's that aspect of it too. So he showed up in the heat of the day. So kind of like today. I mean, it would have been a hot day. And yeah, and the hospitality he had, so he ran down to the entrance. And so you have a Jewish man running. This is hospitality in the extreme mode. I mean, he's not just giving, a little bit or just like his leftovers. He's killing the fatted calf and giving milk, fresh goods, which they didn't have refrigerators at that point. I mean, this would have been something that is very valuable to them. I mean, you were going to say something, Donna?
Did Abraham know that he was in the presence of, or was he just being really hospitable?
That's kind of a debate. In some of the old Jewish texts say yes, he was aware of it. I'm sure the Holy Spirit was prompting him that this was God. And so he also bowed to the ground, which is a very big sign of humility. And so that would be one aspect to where, and he actually addresses Adonai. He responds to him as Adonai.
Yes, God.
Yeah, and so it's
They could have easily been angels too.
right. So there's both. They're messengers. It's definitely messengers of God or a prefigurement of the Trinity. We're not exactly sure. We don't really even need to know. I mean, it's the church fathers have looked at it in one way, but other people have looked at it as these are three angels. And so he says, I'll give you a little food, which is a complete understatement. He didn't give it just a little food. I mean, he killed a fatted calf. It talks about 3 measures of fine flour, and that's like 50 pounds of flour. Knead this into and make some rolls. That's a lot of rolls. 50 pounds, I mean.
Three people.
Now, were them guys, these 3 guys were angels?
Yeah, so some of the people thought they were angels, right? They were definitely divine in some way or another. They're messengers of God. Is kind of, so they were angels is what the Jewish tradition would.
In what form did God appear to Abraham?
In the burning bush.
No, that was Moses.
That was Moses.
Right.
Doesn't specify it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So
Maybe in that vision of God, there were other people that were going to be approaching him too.
yeah, I mean, and it doesn't really say if they just came alone. I mean, it said the 3 men were there, but who knows if they had other people with them? I'm not sure. But he went above and beyond the measure, and first thing he did, he went to the tent and told Sarah, quick, roll up 50 pounds of flour into bread. And then he told his servant, take this steer and he'd have, prepare it. So that means slaughter it, gut it, cook it. I mean, it's...
Build the fire first.
Yeah.
And then put it in.
And you notice Abraham
They like it rare.
Abraham didn't just tell people what to do, he helped out. I mean, I think that's the other part of it. And so he was the one who got some curds and milk. I mean, who knows, if you got 50 pounds of flour, you probably need milk for that too. It's a lot of, you have to go milk the cows, and it's, and he also served them. So he doesn't just tell other people to do it, he gets busy and he's doing the work. And he gives his best, not his leftovers. And I think that's important too. We need to give God our best and not our leftovers. And we're also called to be hospitable to other people. That's something that's really emphasized in the Old Testament, is this. And if you think about how people would travel, they didn't have hotels. They had nothing. I mean, they'd show up on their camel, and if somebody didn't offer them some kind of hospitality, they could die. I mean, there's nothing there, they need food and water. They're just kind of going on faith. They didn't, they were trusting other people would help them as they went along. And it would be the same when they would go when this family would travel, they would expect it also. And so they were kind of all like distant family. I mean, as part of as a Jewish people, they were all related. But what's kind of amazing is that because of his hospitality and his going above and beyond, I mean, he went above and beyond the call, to show this hospitality. We have this divine promise. So remember, Abraham was promised by God that he would be the father of all nations. And this would have been after Hagar had Ishmael. And so, he had been waiting for 20-some years. God gave him this promise, and ho-hum, twiddle your thumbs, what happened? And so, I mean, it would have been easy for him to lose his faith if we don't, put yourself in his situation. After 20 years, you're going to be the father of all nations, and all of a sudden you hit 90, and you hit 100, and it's like, yeah, right, God. Was I hallucinating, or what was that? I mean, because it's natural. I mean, he's the father of our faith. But they did actually go out on their own, and they gave Hagar to Abraham, and they had the son Ishmael. And that's the beginning of all the Arabs, is from the Ishmaelites. That's what they were actually called, the Ishmaelites. And we can see that was not God's plan. That was them basically doing it on their own. And so you'll note in the book further on, it shows that Hagar and her son were cast out and put into the desert, but God still took care of them and said, you will be in charge of many nations. And it said, he will be a wild ass of a man, and he will fight against you pretty much till the end of time. Look in the Middle East, what's going on?
Yeah.
They're fighting against each other, and here we are 3,000 years later, still going on, still fighting. And again, most of the problems that we have are because we're not doing God's will, we're choosing our own will over it. I mean, if you look at the different, all that, like Ham, all the stuff that happened all the way through, it's sin that's the cause of a lot of our problems. One of them says, where's your wife Sarah? And so again, how do they know that? Because, of course, being divine messengers, they knew. And he said, they're in the tent. Now remember, this doesn't go far enough because the story goes on. She's listening in the tent to the conversation. And when they say this, I will surely return to you about this time next year, Sarah laughs, right? And then they confront her, and she says, I didn't laugh. And they say, you did laugh. You did laugh. Because, and she did. She doubted. And she says, well, how will I have a child now that my husband is 100 years old, basically? And so we have this whole narrative that's going on is pretty amazing. That's, that's the one thing. I mean, they have to cut it off somewhere. But it would be nice if they kind of went on and finished the story right. And I think that's where... Hello.
Use the restroom?
Okay, if you go straight through and up, the
It's
restroom.
upstairs?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
And if you ever want to join the Bible study, we're here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Okay, all right. It's a little bit of a trip from Dearborn.
Oh, we have people.
We're
coming
from South
Dearborn.
Lyons, so it's you're right in line.
Oh.
Not that far. Going down the expressway, 90 miles an hour here, 15.
Yeah, that's true. So I think this whole stories today, we're going to see how this bit about hospitality and giving of oneself.
I want to know that you have the kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
By
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, Isaac is their son.
But Abraham was over 100 and he
Yeah, it's a divine.
Wow.
It's so these are the miracles of God where, they're barren and they still have a child, where they're way over the age. I mean, think about John the Baptist. Her parent, his parents were beyond the age that they could ever have kids, and God wanted it so. And actually, God does these impossible things to show it's from God, not of man. And he'll use people like, even me to help do things because it couldn't come from me, it came from God. Because God, and so he'll use people that have, like St. Joseph Cupertino. I mean, he couldn't even pass through his, education or whatever. But God worked it so that he was just an amazing saint. And so, and think about Father Solanus Casey, same situation. And so God will use the people that you wouldn't normally think, because if he uses people that maybe a great theologian, they could say, oh, well, that's him doing it, not of God. And I think we got to, once we realize that, that's kind of important.